Welcome back to another episode of Dreamcatchers Presents the Jason Smith Show, where we don't chase dreams, nah. We catch them. And who am I here with today? First off, I'm here with two special guests. I met Leen right here to my left. I said my left. I meant to my right. I met her at a Wisconsin leadership seminar where we were both on a panel at Carroll University. It was fun. We touched the kids. You know what I'm saying? I remember they came up to us and, you know what I'm saying, were talking to us. And that was a very, very impactful day. And I asked her to come on the podcast, and she was like, yeah, I'll come on the podcast, but I'm not coming alone.
No.
Don't try to get me on this podcast alone. I'm bringing my friend, my brilliant friend. That's who I'm bringing with me. I'm bringing Aamna with me because I want us both here shining. So, I want to thank Leen. I want to thank Aamna for coming on the Jason Smith Show. Thank you guys.
No, thanks for inviting us.
Oh, come on. How are you guys doing? First off, let's get that out.
I'm doing great.
You guys great. How are you doing?
Typical Thursday night, the usual.
I like to say TGIT. Thank God it's Thursday. That's what I like to say. You know what I'm saying? But first off, I like to start off every podcast with the same question. And I gotta say, this is the first time I've had two guests. So this is the first time I've this is different. This is history in the making. That's what we gotta understand.
We be making history today.
We are making history. You know what I'm saying right now. I'm sitting right here in the middle. I've never sat in no middle of my life. This is just different. So I want to thank Elena Aamna for coming on. The first question I like to ask every single guest, and I ask it, and both one of you want to answer. Both of you want to answer. It's however you guys want to go. The first question is, what is the dream?
I would say the dream is to just be content. I think happiness is, nice, but I feel like it's pretty hard to achieve. And I think generally, growing up, I was like, the dream is to do A, B, C, D, and be A, B, C, D. And now I'm like, I just want to enjoy my life in peace and just take it as it goes. So I would say that's the dream for me. Just go for a walk.
I took it in a little bit of a different direction.
No, take
and
it
I'm
however you want to interpret it.
I took it as like the dream would be like I reimagined the world in a way a bit of like where everyone was more in a community mindset where people would uplift and empower instead of really take away and oppress. And I feel like the dream for me is to have a society where people are just happy for one another and supportive of what they want to achieve and are willing to give up things for one another to achieve what everyone else wants for like a universal success.
Actually, I think both of you guys' answer actually play in with each other because you are looking for, like you were saying, contentness. Mm-hmm. Like whatever you need to do, be content. And you're saying, listen, my dream is for us to basically to come together, for us to work together, to come together. And through that, contentness we'll get. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing a little series basically on religion. Something very, very profound to me. And it's very profound for me because I grew up, like, my family actually owns a church. So I grew up in the church, and it's like, when I got to college, though, a lot of questions started popping in my head.
Yeah.
It's like
trying to figure yourself out. You're like, what's going
on?
on?
You know what I'm saying? Because like all I knew was Christianity growing up. That's like that's it. Because like that was the only thing.
Yeah.
So when I got into college, I was like, no, bro. I'm about to start looking into other religions because like I want to know why is everybody just gravitating towards this one? Like what's going on right now? Well, not everybody, but everybody here, most people in the United States. Yeah, here in the United States, gravitating towards this one. So I just started researching all of these different like religions and stuff. And obviously, when it comes to Islam in the United States, it's the second biggest. And in the Middle East, I mean, 85%, you know what I'm saying, is Muslim. So I was like, questions started coming in my head like, bro, how come here people are Christian, but where Christianity and Islam both originated in the Middle East, 85% is Islam. So it baffled me.
Yeah.
So the first question I got for you guys is, how has your journey with Islam impacted you guys personally, how would you say that like, what does your faith mean to you on a personal level?
You want to go first?
Sure, I can start. So I feel like that like there's a lot of like stages in my personal journey with religion. I think that a lot of people, like, let's say my family's from Syria, so like I go back there. Thankfully, I have the privilege to every summer to visit them and see them, and that played a huge impact on my connection with my religion since it was tied into culture in a way, which I think many like first generation kids will understand and relate to. But at the same time, I had like that same like identity crisis here in America, where what are you saying? Most people gravitate towards Christianity or atheism or other religions outside of Islam, and I feel like Islam's values and norms felt almost opposite of some values in American like school systems and just the lifestyle here. And so growing up, it was more so my first like encounter with it was just like how do I fit my religion in with this ideology of like Americanism, and where do I play a role in the making of it? And so like my first interaction was when I was about 7 years old. I wore the hijab, and for me, a lot of people are like, "You're literally 7. Like, let's calm down. Like, why are you making this huge decision?" But for me, it really was a moment where I saw like all these women. I was in Islam. I think people often don't see the beauty and the strength behind wearing, being modest and wearing a hijab. And I think when I was 7, I saw my mom and the way she carried herself, and my teachers and role models at the time. All of them carried it in such a way where like you felt that they had a sort of power and like aura around them that I just wanted. And so that's how it started. And then when I got to elementary school and then middle school and high school, throughout those years, like everyone would ask me these questions like, why are you wearing it? What is it? Do you like the wildest questions? And so that really forced me to go back into my own self and like be like, okay, like what is religion? So like at the baseline for me now, after all those years, I finally got to a point where like religion to me is a way of life that sustains me and ensures and keeps me in check of like, I was saying like basically your dream to be content. I think religion is really like the pathway for me for that. While people see it as like, oh, there's limitations, for me, it's a form of protection in a way too. Like religion for us keeps our family together because you're required religiously to keep connections with family and friends. Religion also forces you to keep a healthy lifestyle. Like we are told like the Prophet's sunnah, which means like way of life. He would always say you have to be athletic, like into the athlete. Wow, I'm like stuttering. Into the sport of your time. So at the time was like horseback riding or archery. So you have to be fit. You have to eat healthy. We don't drink. We don't do drugs. We don't eat pork. And all of these like have scientific proofs and backgrounds of why you maintain the body the way you do. The prayer, Aamna can go into it more because she knows, like she did her research on it. But like when you pray, also it has a physical like effect on your body of like the joints and the muscles. I'm not a science major, I don't know. But like, you know what I mean? Like just the lifestyle itself, like really plays such a role in like health and family and contentness that for me, it became like more of a privilege to be able to practice my religion than like the burden that I used to feel when I was in high school. Cause I was like, it's so different. But that's why it's so different, is because it's a protection rather than like, I feel like a ravaging of yourself, you know? It just gives you the strength to actually be like, it's okay if I lose a few things because I know later on I'm going to gain a lot more. So it's like a mindset that really helped me connect to my religion and like my contentness.
Oh no, I love it. And I listen. I even cut out the pork because like that's scientific. That we shouldn't be eating pork. I'm gonna be completely honest with you because the pig is the most unclean animal. Yeah. They sitting there rolling in dirt, getting
eating
fed
their
all
own
this crazy stuff, and then they kill them, eat them. I mean, they kill them, chop them up, cook them, and now we eating it. I'm cool. Aamna, what would you say? How does your faith impact your life on a personal level?
My friends and I always play a game. If you weren't Muslim, how would you be?
Wow. Okay.
I would be in a way different path of life right now.
Yeah.
So just like a backstory about my life, my dad passed away when I was 3 years old. So my mom raised me and my 2 older siblings by herself. We were fresh from Pakistan. That's where I'm from. Fresh off the boat, as they say. I was 3.5. My brother was 10. My sister was 9. And my mom was an immigrant. She didn't know English. She kept taking right turns because she was too scared to take a left turn. But she stayed here, and she raised us. Now she has an engineer, an architect, and a physical therapist as a kid. So I think she did pretty well for herself, honestly. Props to my mom. Alhamdulillah. But honestly, the thing for me is, I'm the youngest child, but I'm a mama's girl to heart, if that intro wasn't much of a clarification on that. But my mom, I have no idea how she did it. Genuinely, if had it not been for her faith and her trust in God, because, don't get me wrong, community is a big thing, and our community helps out a lot, but at that point in life, my mom really had no one, not her in-laws, not her family, nothing except God. It was just her and 3 kids alone. And she did it. I don't know how she did it. She worked, as a maid. She worked at Dunkin' Donuts. She did all of this, and she raised us 3 on her own, no questions. And that for me is, the premise of my faith. So growing up in a household where, you see the trust in God and how much, blessings and, we say barakah. It was just, blessings from God, basically. Comes in your time and your money and everything. Growing up with that foundation, I know people personally who had a similar situation, but they didn't have that foundation and they went down a completely different path. Yeah. And so for my mom to raise us with no matter what happens, don't get me wrong, religiosity and practicing is very, very important as well. But if you don't have that trust, what is the point? Yeah. So growing up in that was really difficult, of course, but she's a G, and I grew up with that basically mentality where it's at the end of the day, whatever I want to do, I'm going to do it. As long as I have God on my side, who's going to stop me? Who's more powerful than God? So growing up with that mentality, I had to get scholarships to go to college, all that stuff. And I did. And everything was paid off for me, thankfully. And it was a huge, huge blessing in my life. So for me, if I didn't have my faith and if I didn't have that understanding growing up that it's it's, and I know to some people this may sound bleak, but it's me and God against everyone else. I can lose everyone in the world, but as long as I have him, I'm chilling. I'm vibing. I'm content. That's all I really need. And I feel routinely in life, we've all gone through things because realistically, problems are realistic. Everyone has issues. Everyone has trauma, unfortunately. Everyone has struggles in their life. And I feel every time I've struggled, I've learned or I have tried to force myself to turn back to my religion because that is genuinely the only thing that keeps me sane. And that's most of the time the only thing that keeps me going is okay, my faith says this, this, and this. I'll pick up a holy book. I'll read it. I'll try to read it. I'll even force myself to get back into it. But once I'm into it, it's okay, alhamdulillah, glory be to God. I need nothing else. And then life works out. I always say life always has a funny way of working out. And it's because it's not in my hands. Growing up, I was a very strong personality. So I was I'm going to do this, this, and this, and, all this stuff, and now I'm I'm glad I never wrote my own story, and I'm glad I'm not writing it because horrible. I'm a terrible author. So for us, it's maktub, it's written. God writes our stories. He writes our future. He writes our plans. He writes everything for us. For us, why would I want to ever write it myself? I'm flawed. I'm a human.
Almost
I don't know.
A burden
exactly.
Off you.
It's a huge burden off of me knowing that I will do whatever I can. And strive in excellence, as we say. And I will continue to strive in excellence for his sake. And no matter what I do, as long as I'm doing it the best, I'm fine. Hands off. Yeah. It's not my stop. I'm not writing it. I'm just doing whatever I can. So I feel that really is the only thing that gets me through 99% of the time.
No, I love it. And I think that's the importance of
yeah.
religion. You feel what I'm saying? It gives you that reason to keep going. It gives you that belief that empowers you. Yeah. Something that you said that caught my interest was like when you said when you were in high school and like you looking around and you trying to figure out, wait, what's going on right now? Like sort of a culture shock. Yeah. Did you experience that culture shock as well?
Actually,
I know you came when you was 3. So
yeah, actually, I went to a private Islamic school down in a little South Milwaukee. So I was raised and surrounded by Muslims my entire life. I had a culture shock in the sense that I was like Pakistani, raised by Arabs, but I was still around Muslims. I was still in that bubble. I went to like my siblings went to Oak Creek High School, so they went to like a public school. So they definitely had their struggles. My sister had her scarf nearly ripped off once, kind of situations, unfortunately, when she was in high school. Yeah, and I was in Boys and Girls Club in high school, so that was kind of when it came. But I feel like at that point in my life, I was chilling, like so unfazed by everything else, where it wasn't like a big culture shock to me. But I grew up in like a Muslim environment, a Muslim community, so I never really had to experience it at a young age like Leen did, for example.
Okay, no, so that makes sense. So what are some misconceptions about Islam that because I know
there are a lot out there,
especially here in the Western civilization, because
it's a bit.
The Western civilization it's different, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's much different, and man, I know I'm from the West, but the West is pretty messed up. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of parts of the world are in their own ways, so you just got to figure out your space within them, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot, so you can take your pick out of them. Like,
so yeah, we're talking about misconceptions. What are some of the most prominent misconceptions that you can think of right now that you want to clear up? Hey, this is not that, so stop thinking that. It's frustrating.
Right here, this hijab.
Go. Okay,
This scarf. This is not oppressive. I'm just throwing the first statement out there. Yeah, I mean, it's really ironic because in a culture, and I'm going to be a little bit of a hater here, in a culture that promotes like Western feminism, and it's like, oh, like the scarf is oppressive, like you shouldn't be wearing it. First of all, it's more oppressive to tell me to take it off than it is for me to wear it. So telling me to take something off because you're uncomfortable is a wild claim. That is insanely oppressive in nature, and that statement will never make sense to me. So I feel like the misconception of the scarf is huge. It does not oppress me. It does not make me feel weak. It makes me feel powerful and empowered. And I love the fact that when people see me, they see my face first because I want them to. Like, I want you to see me and see that I'm Muslim first and foremost, because let's see how you approach me from there. So I feel like that's a huge misconception, that like the first thing I want to knock off the board is like, my scarf does not oppress me, bro. I would be completely like, I would not be the person I am today had it not been for the scarf on my head. So.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I think first and foremost, as a woman in Islam, I think that is the misconception of like, oh, like the males of your religion force you to wear it, and I'm like, no, actually, like, no, we choose to wear it. So our Allah or our God asks us to, and so we respond to that by saying yes. Like, it's actually more so like our honor to wear it because we were chosen as a flag bearer for our own religion. That means we take the brunt of the front line, and like, because people, when they see men, you can't really see like, oh, they're Muslim outwardly unless they're praying outside. Well, women, we get the brunt of most of actually the questions of Islam. We get the brunt of the violence of like people that might be against Islam or might say things. And so really we are, by putting the hijab on, we're not only the flag bearers, we're also soldiers of our own religion, which is really empowering in a way where at the time when Islam was actually being a message and being shared, was like one of the most oppressive times for women, where they couldn't have roles in society, where they didn't have a voice, where all of these things were taken from them. But in fact, when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came out, he was the one who gave respect to women, who gave honor to women again, who was like, actually, women should be educated. Women have the right to be in the workforce. His wife was one of the richest businesswomen at the time, Khadija. And so just going back into the actual history of our religion, when you see all these women figures and you see that Aisha, another one of his wives, was one of the greatest scholars at the time. She was a woman. And it's just like, I think that in this day and age, culture and religion and government types are very mixed together, and people aren't able to disassociate what religion, the actual religion, calls for in the books versus how it might be practiced in certain countries or with certain families. And so like that is the biggest misconception that we like to clear up every time. I'm like, listen, no, I'm not oppressed. I'm glad you're worried for me, but I'm good. And I think another one right after that is like, right after the oppression, they're like, well, hold up, if you're not oppressed, are you a terrorist? And I'm like, let's like, nope, actually. Also, the religion calls for peace most of the time and justice. I think that's the biggest call for in Islam. It's about upholding justice and upholding love and mercy and compassion for one another. I want to ask people where the thought of the terrorism comes from, because many of the groups that have used Islam as their face have not actually looked into what the book calls for. And it brings me back to like, during the genocide in Gaza and Palestine right now, like how you can see each of those people there, like everything's gone from their lives, but why are they still praying? Why are they fasting when they have no food? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and if a religion calls for terrorism in such a way, why are people holding on to it as it's like their last beacon of hope, or their last, like, this is the only person that got me is Allah. So like, if it really was like terrorism in itself, where would all this love and devotion and passion for the religion come from with people who have literally nothing and are scared for their lives, you know? And so that's where those two like common themes of oppression and terrorism in of itself, like they come from these Western media really that are showing a side of Islam that isn't true for their own political like agenda, as you could see. Like I'm really a historic buff, so it's just
I
like,
love it 'cause, like, I know
yeah.
I'm a history guy.
Okay,
Like,
okay,
I'm a
perfect.
history
If you want to
guy,
go
I
into
love it.
history, we
No,
can.
I love it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Keep going.
because it's like afterwards, after 9/11, and the actions afterwards, if you can see like the laws that came out in the U.S. afterwards that really gave the government a lot more power into the privacy of people, into the foreign countries where you could go into Iraq, where they had no weapons of mass destruction, into Syria, where my country is, where America holds a lot of the oil that we have. In many of the countries, like now, there's proxy wars, they're being ravaged, and it's just it was justified through a way of media that was used as like a means of warfare, like modern time warfare, to exploit and use religion in a way to justify the harms of people there that were just living their lives. And so for us now, like I beg people to just take a second and like really just educate in a way, just a quick internet search, like Islam, what the books say, you know, not what the media says, because those are vast. There's like a vast gap between what the actual truth is and what is produced and promoted for public consumption. So that's really what I think the biggest thing is for us. Now I'm like going on a tangent.
I just want to give a disclaimer. We are not scholars.
Yeah,
facts.
Before we start preaching.
I need my notebook, because I'm not going to school right now, so I love it. But no, because that's, from the outside looking in, that's what I believe. I believe the oppression, especially of women, and I think that the terrorists claim are the two, especially here in the Western civilization. Because when you're talking about the West pushing their media agenda without question, and that is what they do. For example, just recently, monkeypox is going crazy in Africa right now. And it's crazy because every single time the news is putting Africa on TV, all you see is just the poorest parts of Africa. You see, all you seeing is the little naked boy with the ribs poking out, and then the white savior right next to him. Do you want to help this child? You feel what I'm saying? So it's no matter what. If you're not American,
which is what, like, I beg, what is American?
What
like,
is
I need to know
American?
what that means. Because if you're saying American, then do you mean native to the land, or do you mean the colonizing aspect, or what do you mean by American?
That is exactly, because like when I told you that 85% of where all these religions, all of the major religions,
they from back there.
There, 85% is bro. Is this? 85% in the Middle East is Islamic, and yet all of these places where the white people colonized, they are Christian. So that's that, man. When I tell you I'm history, I go deep into the history, and I gotta thank my brother Joe for really opening my mind to a lot of it. I believe those are the two misconceptions, and especially like you brought up Osama bin Laden, and then even afterwards when they went into the privacy, like they were, dude, do we not know that they were? We have no privacy. Like, and
they're the laws that come directly after the 9/11 attacks. You're like,
you feel what I'm saying? It's to the point, like, dude, like even Obama got in a little bit of trouble because they were literally secretly tracking every single thing we all did. And like you're saying, breaking in the Middle East thinking that they were going to find some weapons of mass destruction. And then they get there and there's nothing there.
Let's take some oil instead.
Hey, we here anyway. We might as well get rich, and we might as well steal. Man, I don't want to sound like I'm hating on America, but I got a big problem with America because America, bro, it's built off of
other people.
You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's built off of a lie.
Yeah. And that's the biggest misconception too of like, let's say Christianity. Like Christianity, Islam is an extension of it in our religion. Like for us, Jesus is a prophet, and he was the one right before like Prophet Muhammad. Like he was the last messenger of like the book before then the final book came, which was with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's like, I think the misconception too is like that Christianity and Islam have to be so different, while Islam is literally like it genuinely says like in the book, in the Quran, if you like read through it, it's like, okay, there's a prophet before you, he came with Christianity, and this is the final part of his message. So it's like in the Abrahamic faith, like I don't understand this notion of like, why is it so heated of an argument when it's actually like an extension of one another, like Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Like that's just how it ends for us in our mindset too. So it's just like very interesting when you like talk to different people about these things. You're like, listen, like we are in agreement with a lot of things. There's just a few things here and there that obviously are different, but it's an extension of one another.
That is and ignorance is the reason why, because like people have no clue what other religions, what Islam is even talking about, because they so only tunnel vision with the Christian. Like they have no clue that Muslims even believe in Jesus, like you just said. Like, and it's the most mind-boggling thing. The fact that the Prophet Muhammad literally raises up Jesus as a great figure. Like, you feel what I'm saying? So I think that it's pure ignorance, the fact that the Christians here in the Western civilization will not take the time to pull out Google and look up. How does Islam feel about Christianity? How does Islam feel? Like, they won't even do that.
Because it's harder to do that.
It's crazy how, like, it's wild, but they would definitely turn on that news.
I'm like, I knew they hated us from day one.
You know what I'm saying? So, no, I'm glad we got to clear up some of them misconceptions, because it's BS. It's straight BS, and it's propaganda given by American media, Western civilization media. It just is what it is. Like, I hate that I got to be the guy to sit here and tell
I'm
y'all
sorry
this.
to break it to y'all, but listen, it's a way. But it's a method of, that's like America's really good at, like the government. Not, I would say like the government.
The
still
government.
Different.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, it's really good at using things such as religion and different racial backgrounds and cultures to make sure that people stay in their silos and that communities can't come together so that they can't change and uplift one another. And that's why they use the media. And they're like, because, you know, if we were all like, oh, wait, listen, you were oppressed and we were oppressed and we're chilling together, like, we agree. And we were actually to come together. The government's like, wait a minute. That's a little too scary, you know?
Yes. That's why they keep black people in the hood. Yeah. That's why they keep everything so segregated.
So everyone's everywhere. Why they keep people in certain jobs in certain areas.
Exactly. Why? And that's why they even lump. It's literally white versus everybody else. You got white and people of color. What in the world is going on right now?
Yeah.
Because they know.
Low-key though, just a question. What color is my skin? I just need to
Leen,
know.
you look like a convert, bro.
Not just like, but like as soon as you wear this, I'm not white anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm Arab, but my skin is white. Like I'm confused what people of color means in this like, context. Like what's going on?
I hate the term.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate the term.
And then if you say you're like Irish, you're like spicy white, and I was like, what does that mean, bro?
Actually, Irish.
Actually, I'm 25% Mexican.
Yeah.
I'm like,
don't get me started with that, because if somebody got 1% black, hey, actually, I'm black too, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, get out of here. Dog. This is insane. But no, it's the separation, this is division, and they love that. They want to keep us divided because they know, bro. They know. If the family came together, they will be overdrawn. When I say they, I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about when I say they. I'm not talking about Joe Smo sitting on the couch watching you know who I'm talking about when I say they, the colonizers. Yeah. The people who came over here. This ain't, bro, y'all, man, don't get me started. Don't get me started. I don't want to start. But I want to talk a little bit, can any of you, for the viewers out there and the listeners out there, what is Ramadan? What's the significance of it?
So Ramadan is a holy month. It is the month that our holy book was revealed. So it's the month where we fast. It's either 29 or 30 days, kind of depending on the moon. So religiously, we follow the lunar calendar. So that's why our religious months are a little bit different than like traditional Western calendar. So just depends on the phase of the moon. So we fast that month, and there's a lot of like, wisdom to fasting. We've all heard about
Can you
the hype
explain
of
what fasting is? Just
Oh, I'm so
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, because
Yes,
honestly,
yes,
like,
yes,
because I know
good.
when
Good
so
everybody
start from like
point.
0.
when people hear fasting, they like, so you're starving yourself?
So fasting is we don't eat or drink from dusk is sunrise.
Sunrise.
Yeah, till sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a little before sunrise.
Dawn to dusk.
Dawn to dusk. That's what it is. So we can't eat or drink. Yes, even water. Dawn to dusk. Before people start questioning that. And it's not even just food. I think a lot of people have the misconception that it's just, we're starving ourselves and we're just dehydrating ourselves for a large portion of the day. It's also things like if you smoke, like cigarettes, whatever, no smoking, no cursing, no gossiping, no lying, no any of those kind of sins. So the whole point of Ramadan is discipline. So the whole concept is that you kind of withhold your necessities, food and water, for a certain amount of time because you learn to withhold your desires in response. So it's kind of the wisdom behind Ramadan. You can hear all about the health benefits about intermittent fasting and how it's good for you to lose weight, although realistically, we eat a lot at night. So do we really lose weight? That's the question.
We're not supposed to, but we kind of splurge
Yeah.
a little bit.
And so you can eat, and we have extra prayers we do during that month, and then we have like our last 10 days are like the holiest days for us. And that's kind of like in the last 10 nights is when the holy book was revealed. We don't know the date exactly. We just know it was then. So we kind of amp up our prayers. Our prayers for us, by the way, is like the actual physical act, the process of praying. We have a process for it. And then we have something called du'as, which is kind of like prayers in the sense of like you're talking to God and asking for things. So those are like two different things for us in a way. So we kind of amp up all of that during that month, and it's a very special month. It's weird, but it's like the only time of the year that I feel like I'm at home. It's like that level of like peace and family and contentment. It's like I can never find it the other months of the year. Actually, for us, also, we believe that Shaitan or Satan is actually locked up in that month. But an important thing to remember is like even though the devil's locked up, we still have our own desires that we're fighting within ourselves. So that's kind of has just evolved within us over time. So that's kind of where the whole idea of discipline comes from in that holy month. But yeah, it's like my favorite time of the year. I know people are like at work, they're like, oh, you must be so tired. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I haven't slept because I'm eating all night or like I'm hungry and I need caffeine, but also like I'm happy.
You're content.
Like,
Your
it's
soul
like,
is full.
My soul, like my stomach is starving, but my heart is like, let's go, you know? So I think that's the thing a lot of people don't fully understand or comprehend. I think until you're in it or until you do it, it's just a very spiritually and fulfilling time of the year. It's the time the community comes together. It's the time you see people you haven't seen in a while. You do your donations there. You do your charities that time of the year. Like it's a big month of discipline. It's just, we do everything we do for God, of course, on a daily basis, but that month is just amped up as much as we can. So,
and I think
beautiful month.
Showing also like the mercy and like the compassion of the religion at the same time. Like God knows like certain people can't fast at that time, so there's always exceptions for people. Like pregnant women don't need to fast. Women that are on their periods don't need to fast. Small children, if you're sick, if you're really too old, like there's so many like ways out just in case like you physically can't. That shows like how much it's catered towards really like helping uplift you and not supposed to be like a harmful like action for anyone. And just like Aamna was saying, I think during that time it's like the prayers every night. Like every night you're gonna see people at the mosque, and that just creates such a community that genuinely the last day you're so sad because like the next day we're not all gonna meet up and link up at the masjid and then go after to like get coffee or do something, but like I'm just saying, like even though you're dead tired during the day maybe at some point, but just you feel so light as like a person. Like you feel like your best sense of self. And they try to be like, you can take one habit throughout those 30 days and try to continue it on onwards. So like you break something out of you that you didn't like let's say like I like lie too much, let's say, and then during that month I'm like, okay, I'm dedicating myself to not lying these 30 days. And then afterwards it just helps things like helps you grow as a person.
Yeah, I also would like to add, like, obviously there's wisdom in us for everything we do, but like Ramadan's also like we do it because it's mandatory too. I feel like that part kind of gets lost in the sauce, I guess, at some point. But there's wisdom. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of the things we do is because it is God wants us to, and I love the fact that my religion has wisdom, but it's important to note for other people that my religion also has rules. And I think some people are like, oh, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. It's like, no, like. Yeah, I mean, did I want to fast all 30 days as a kid? Probably not. But at the end of the day, like, I love Allah. Like, I love God. So I will sacrifice food and water for, like, 8 hours a day if it means that's what he wants me to do. Because I trust him. I love him so much, and I trust him so much that I know there is a reason I'm doing this. So I feel like it's important to, mention that as well. That it's not just, oh, we're doing this because it's, it's wise. We're doing this also because we trust God enough to know that he's wise.
Yeah.
Kind of situation.
I love that. Before we move on to this or that, what is there one thing besides the misconceptions that we named? Is there one thing? I don't know anything about Islam. I don't know nothing. What's one thing that you want these people to understand? Because like something like that I'll be the first to answer.
Yeah, go for it.
Peace.
Yeah.
The fact that Islam is such a peaceful religion, and it irks me the fact that people think that it's not.
Yeah.
Like it make me mad. You know what I'm saying? So that's one misconception that I want to clear up. It is a religion of peace. So what's something that you guys want to clear up real quick?
Ooh, you can go first if you have something.
Only if you got something. And if you feel like y'all touched on it, that's good, because y'all touched on a lot.
Yeah. I think a big thing. We touched a little bit on it, but just the two concepts of empowerment and discipline. I think that while discipline sometimes is hard, I think it's very empowering, and I think that people that do practice and follow Islam like have a lot of willpower and ability to overcome a lot in their lives and are able to handle a lot in their lives. And I feel like because of the faith that you have, and because in your mindset, I'm like, okay, like it might not work out for me right now. Maybe my dream's not working out. Maybe I lost a loved one. Maybe I'm going through the worst thing. But I know after this life, there's going to be so much of a reward for me. And I'm going to see my loved ones again. I'm going to hang out with my friends. I can do whatever in heaven. That the mindset really changes a person's lifestyle. I think that mindset has saved me a lot of times in my own life and what I've gone through, that it's so empowering, and so I'm so blessed to have that in myself and my family and my friends, because without that mindset, it'd be really hard, I feel like, to go through certain events in people's lives. So I think that's like the biggest thing I want people to take away, that like, yes, sometimes it's hard, but I swear the mindset is the best way to live and the easiest way to get to that level of contentment that Aamna was talking about.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at my phone, but I was finding a quote.
Oh, no, okay.
So, actually, two things. So, one of them is we have a scholar in our religion. His name is Imam Ghazali. So he's like a really historical figure. And he has like 40 books. It's a lot of books about like principles, ethics, whatever. And in one of his books, it's this line, and it says, "Such people have not seen that truly rich individual is not the one who possesses everything, but the one who needs nothing." Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's a big thing as part of as our religion, is we're supposed to be our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which by the way means peace be upon him, because we are sending peace to him in every breath we can, because no one has loved us, no human has loved us and prayed for us more than him. So for us, it's like he was such a generous and giving individual, him and his like closest companions, that for us giving is nothing. And we believe that whatever we give up in this life will be given to us in the hereafter, which is, heaven, ideally, is the goal. That's the real dream. Let's be real here. Heaven. So for us, it's like, it's not about what you have. It's about the fact that you have nothing to lose. And that's what makes the people of Palestine and Gaza so powerful. And that's why they're so feared. And that's why they're still going since 1948, is because even before they have nothing to lose. They're like, we have Allah, that's all we need, and they've been surviving since. This has gone on far longer than October 7th. And if you need some education, There's a lot of accounts, just letting you guys know. But that's a big thing. So I feel like that's a huge thing to understand is like religiously, it's like fear nothing but God. And that terrifies people, I think, a lot more than you realize. And then the other part is like a big part of our religion is companionship and like love and sincerity. Like when I tell you, I'm going to drop a quick story here. So we have these two like companions, right? Umar and Abu Bakr are their names. So they were always in competition. Who's going to give the most money? Who's going to donate the most? Who's going to help the most, right? And so Abu Bakr, this man was a beast. He was so generous. He gave up everything, literally everything to give to other people. And he was very well off. And so every morning, like Umar was like, man, how is this man beating me in good deeds every single time? And so he followed him one day. And he realized he's helping this old lady out, whatever. And so Abu Bakr leaves and Umar goes inside. And he finds out, like, he's helping this old blind lady do everything. And she has no idea who he is at all. No idea who he is. And then when Abu Bakr passes away, Umar continues to care for her like he would. Continues to care for the old lady. And the old lady eventually goes, the man who used to care for me died, didn't he? And he goes, how did you know? He goes, she used to take the pits out of my dates, and that's how I knew, so I wouldn't choke. Like, that's one of my favorite stories, is those same men are the same ones that, like, committed, and they did really bad things before they became Muslim, but because they picked Islam or because they chose Islam, and they become some of the most powerful and honorable men and honorable people of our religion. And it's not just men. It's also women. Like Leen said, we have, the prophet's wives. We also have Moses as a prophet. His mom, like, we know she left him in the river as a baby. Like, that's insane, Like, Pharaoh's wife, like, she fought for him. Like, these women are so powerful in our religion. These people who are historical religious figures for us are full of honor. And, Umar, the man who I had mentioned earlier, he has this quote where it's like, if you don't have honor in your religion, what's the point? So, like, we care and we give because historically we are taught to from our stories. I think it's another thing too. I know I'm yapping a lot.
Yap.
We actually don't think that any of those stories are like just folk tales that we're told. We believe they actually happened. So one thing I realized, like, growing up, or when I started to know more like non-Muslims, is that for them, like, the story of Moses and Noah and stuff was just like stories. For us, we believe it actually happened. So, like, the whole story of Moses splitting the Red Sea actually happened. The whole story of Noah's Ark actually happened. So growing up, I realized with, like, anything is possible. I am telling you, I have seen miracles happen. Anything is possible. When we were kids and my brother was crying because he wanted my mom to make bread, but my mom didn't have the money for dough, a random guy dropped off dough out front of our house and disappeared. Like, that is literally a miracle. So, I don't know. Like, I know I completely went off topic, but it's a very, like, giving and generous and sincere religion. And, like, alhamdulillah, which means thank God, like, I'm so grateful for it. And I'm not trying to compare any of you guys. Put that out there. Genuinely, if you ever meet a Muslim and they, like, and just have a conversation with them, like, we're not just conservatives or oppressed or whatever it may be. Like, we're also people. And if they do have things that you don't like or whatever it may be, please don't blame the religion. We are all flawed. We're human. I have my flaws. Leen has her flaws. Every Muslim has their flaws. So keep that in mind. It's like if they say something or do something, it's not because of the scarf on their head or the beard on their face. It's just because they're human.
Just be human.
We're just, we try our best. Historically, we are told to be our best, and we will do whatever we can, but we fumble. That's just life.
It's just life.
It's just life.
Question. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now I like to go to a little game. I like to call it this or that. Now these are hard questions. This or that's are hard.
Let's do it.
I'm not good at multiple choice.
Listen, I'm not asking pepperoni pizza or macaroni. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking some stuff that's gonna have you thinking, and I'm only going to say the two words. It's up to your interpretation of what you think.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
So the first one: truth or peace?
Truth.
Truth.
And y'all gotta explain why though. After you
No.
answer.
There's no peace if there's no truth.
Yeah, I think that, even if there's, like, it's just fake peace if there's no real truth behind it. This gives me 1994 vibe, like 1990.
The problem is that people, the people who would choose peace, they would choose it, like you're saying, as a comfort blanket
Yep.
when it's not real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they want to believe.
Yeah.
that it's peace.
Yeah.
But I believe the only way you can get through to peace is by knowing the truth. I don't care how bad the truth is, how hurtful the truth may be. I don't care.
You gotta
the
deal
truth
with it.
is what's going to put my mind at ease.
Yeah. Ignorance is not bliss, it's blinding.
Ooh. Ooh.
He got shivers.
That's it.
Yeah.
I got to go on a shirt.
Tattoo.
We got to put a sign up because that is a bar.
It's true, though.
I cannot lie to you. Okay. Second one. Knowing the future or changing the past?
Knowing your future, maybe.
Yeah, knowing the future.
Yeah, I guess.
Explain.
I think that if, let's say, like changing the past, for me personally, I wouldn't be who I am today. And also, if you're always changing the past, then are you really living in your moment or really doing anything with your life to like grow or anything? If you're just changing, I feel like it's not taking accountability and really moving on and growing from it. It's just like constant regret and like indecisiveness. Like, should I change this? Should I keep it? So I'd rather look forward more than look back.
You can't go nowhere looking in the rearview mirror. That's all I'm gonna say. You agree with her?
Yeah, 100%.
Let's get it. Last one. Following your heart or following your mind?
Following your mind.
Hold on, because like you hesitated.
I don't know.
Now, why you explain why she thinking about it? Because this is tough.
Leen, what's the Arabic word for heart?
Qalb.
And why is it qalb? It doesn't mean like it fluctuates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in Arabic,
Qalqala.
yeah, qalqala. So like it fluctuates. Your heart's not a very stable or reliable thing all the time because it does fluctuate. So for me, it's like I can follow my heart all the time, but it can be blinding. Like it can really blind me. And I'm not like a logic or emotion kind of person, you know. Obviously, it's a this or that, but I feel like you have to make sometimes decisions that are hard, even though your heart wants one thing, because it might not be the best, not just for you, but for other people around you. So I feel like that's why I would prefer to follow my mind over my heart.
See, I think I follow my mind a little too much. That's why I would say heart, because I feel like I feel like if you were just focused on the mind and the right thing, oftentimes people get lost in that decision process and like the human connection. Yeah, you're right. Like logically, yes, like that's correct. But I think at the end of the day, I'd rather have really strong connections with people, as much as it hurts or as much as it's great. I just think that connection is necessary for human beings, or else I feel like everything would be kind of more robotic and static, at least in my life. So I would have to have the heart.
I love it. Beautiful, great, wonderful, fantastic, amazing.
What about you, Jason?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, like you answered
I've never had
something.
this happen before.
This
This
or
is
that.
a history-making episode right now. I've never had it flipped on me. Let's see. Knowing the future or changing the past. I would know the future. I don't want to change the past. The past is everything. Dude, the past is everything. Like the reason you are the way you are, like y'all said, is because of the past. Why would I want to go change what God dictated for me, what he chose for me? Why would I want to change that? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about following your heart or following your mind. Oh, that's a tough one. I didn't want to answer that. That's why I looked at you.
I know you didn't want to answer it.
Following your heart or following your mind. I feel like...
No pressure.
Oh, my goodness. Let's see.
Your fans are waiting.
Because, like, I'm kind of like you in the aspect of sometimes I'm too logical.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm just straight logic. Oh, I thought I heard the alarm going off. Sometimes I'm just straight logic to the point where, like you said, sometimes I get lost in the logic because it's like, bro, because sometimes stuff just don't make sense. And it's real. And it happened. So, I guess I had to go with following her. Because, I guess I had to go. But the thing is, while I say following the heart, I believe your mind is the most powerful. Your mind is everything. Mm-hmm. Your mind actually dictates your heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess technically, I know I'm copping out right now, but technically,
you said both.
Technically, we are always following our heart.
Ah, okay.
I mean, our mind. Technically, we are always following our mind, even if we do follow our heart.
Mm-hmm. Total cop out.
That's a cop out. But if I had to choose one, I would say following the heart. I'm an emotional guy. You know what I'm
understand
saying?
that.
I'm an emotional guy.
Yeah.
So I love emotions. I'm in tap with my emotions.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
Hey, not a bad thing. Follow your mind though if your frontal lobe is developed. Let me just throw that out there.
that's very true.
Like otherwise, just follow someone else, bro.
That's very true. Last segment of the day, I like to call it a deep dive. And what that is, listen, I'm a deep thinker. Like I just told you, I like to think. Questions keep me up at night. Well, they don't really keep me up at night. But
So I sleep soundly, but you know,
they keep some
got
people
'em.
up at night.
Yeah.
They don't keep me up at night because I always think about them. Like the
Yeah.
questions I'm asking, these are just the things that be in my head all the time. Is it more important to change the world or to find peace within oneself?
Yo, what are these questions?
It's tough. I don't know the answer.
Can we really change the world without finding peace in ourselves though?
Yeah. So,
I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's like that starfish story. Do you guys know about the little kid who threw the starfish in?
No, I don't.
So, there was this little boy, and he was like at a beach, and the starfish were like all drying up on the sand, and so he just kept walking around and throwing it in, and this old guy was like, "There's like thousands of starfish. Like you're not gonna change this for all the starfish just by doing it." And his whole thing was like, "Well, I can't change it for all of them, but at least I can change the life of one of them." You know. So I feel like once you find peace in yourself, you learn that people, like Leen said, people have. I'm a huge fan of human connections, I guess. I don't know where I was going with
Let's
that.
go human connection. Yeah.
Well, people influence people. So I feel like when you are at peace with yourself, you will bring that to the people around you. Because if you're not at peace with yourself, how are you going to change anything, you know?
yeah.
So
I
that's my cop out.
No, it's not a cop out. Because like no, trust me, I'm gonna answer when Leen gets done.
I agree with that. You know, I think that. I mean, I wanted to go. I'm stuttering now, so I'm like too many thoughts. But I want to go into the field of public defense, and as you know, the criminal system here is awful. Like, yeah, there's no justice. There's nothing. So basically, I think whenever you want to try to change the world, it's gonna be so messed up, as you've seen, like history. Like it's dirty. It's like awful when you look at what humans are capable of in that sense. I think you have to have a sense of peace with yourself in order to be able to even attempt to try to help anyone. Because if you're not helping yourself, that's all gonna come out during that time. And I think that especially when you want to help other people, they're gonna see right through your core. And I think humans have, when they're going through really a lot of trauma, they can easily spot you if you're being for real or not. Yeah. And I think that you have to have some sense of yourself first and foremost to like not lose it mentally, but also then, like Aamna saying, like you ain't gonna give security to someone if you don't have that. Like you're saying, like if your cup's empty, how are you gonna fill someone else's? You got nothing to give. So it's like have your cup be overflowing so that it can drip into other people's cups, you know, or else it's not gonna work.
We got the quotes today. Oh my goodness! He said, "Let the overflowing cup drip into somebody else's." But no, I will answer that. My favorite artist of all time is Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson is the greatest the greatest human to ever make music. And the song he got is called "Man in the Mirror." And what he says is, if you want to make the world a better place, come on, I can't mess up.
We're all stuttering.
If you want to make the world a better place, take a look in the mirror and make that change.
Yeah.
You cannot make the world a better place. I cannot help you if I'm not helped.
Yep.
I cannot give you money if I don't have money. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm big on yes, no, you find the peace within yourself because energy is transferable. People will be able to feed off of it. Yep. People will be able to sense it, and people will gravitate towards it. And that's the beauty of it. So find the peace within yourself, find the happiness within yourself, and everything will be okay.
Life always works out.
Life always works out. I want to thank Leen. I want to thank you guys.
Thank you, Jason.
On the Dreamcatchers Presents the Jason Smith Show. It has been truly a pleasure.
Happy to be
It
here.
has been phenomenal. So when I point to you guys, I just need y'all to say, we catch them. We catch them. Like you throw a football,
right.
We catch them. When I point to y'all, that's all y'all got to say.
All right,
We
let's
catch
do
them.
But
You just got done watching another episode of Dreamcatchers Presents the Jason Smith Show, where we don't chase dreams, nah.
we catch 'em.
Catch 'em.
We catch them.